Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're an educator, I know your absolute main goal is seeing your learners achieve their dreams, right? But let's be real, sometimes the systems we use to get there feel totally overwhelming. So today, we're going to dive into continuous improvement, or CI projects, and figure out how to make them actually work for us instead of against us. Let me ask you something. What if the absolute hardest part of a CI project isn't actually helping the kids, but writing the thick report about it? Have you ever felt like your actual teaching takes a backseat to all the documentation? You know, when it feels way more like a compliance check than true innovation? To really get how we can fix this, let's follow the story of a fellow educator, teacher Anna. Now, Anna was facing a real challenge in her classroom. Her grade 4 learners took a reading comprehension assessment, and only 58% of them passed. The rest, they were struggling at the frustration level. And we all know, that's not just a statistic. Those are her actual students. I mean, just imagine it, spending weeks trying to help those struggling readers, planning all those extra remedial classes, giving up your break times, only to find out you've got to spend another whole week just writing up the CI project report about the whole shebang. Trust me, you're definitely not alone in feeling exhausted by that. And honestly, this is exactly why the continuous improvement methodology was adopted by the Department of Education. It's meant to be a structured problem-solving tool that actually lessens your burden, not something that just adds to your pile of paperwork. All right, let's get right into it with Phase 1. Assess, finding the real problem. To tackle classroom issues like Anna's, we use what we call the AAA framework. That's assess, analyze, and act. Think of this as your step-by-step roadmap. The goal here isn't to just jump straight to the first solution that pops into our heads. It's about systematically understanding what's really going on first. Because here's the truth. Without evidence, a CI project just becomes an opinion instead of an actual solution. During this assessed phase, we're not just guessing why Anna's learners are stuck at 58%. We actually map out the current teaching process and gather real, hard data to pinpoint exactly where things are breaking down. So Anna takes a step back and walks through her own teaching process, keeping an eye out for what the methodology calls storm clouds. You can just think of these as observable pain points. Maybe it's long waiting times during class activities, or really poor student participation, frequent tardiness, or maybe the instructions just aren't clear. By spotting these specific storm clouds, Anna can narrow her focus down to one targeted, solvable problem. That is way better than trying to fix the entire education system all at once, right? Moving on to Phase 2, analyze, uncovering the root causes. Now hold on a second. This is where so many first-time teachers make a huge mistake. And honestly, it's a trap that can completely derail your entire CI project. So pay close attention here so you don't end up doing the same thing. The mistake is falling for a disguised solution instead of finding the true root cause. For example, if you look at low test scores and say, well, the cause is that teachers need more training, that right there is a disguised solution. Is more training automatically going to fix the kids' reading scores? Not necessarily. But if you dig a little deeper and discover the true root cause is actually that test instructions are unclear to students, well, bingo. Now you've got a real process issue that you can actually fix. Finding that true root cause is what leads to real improvement. To help you avoid that trap, here are a few golden rules for root cause analysis. First up, always focus on the why, not the who. We don't blame the students, and we definitely do not blame the teachers. We look at the process itself. Second, avoid listing causes that start with lack of. And whatever you do, do not conduct your analysis backward just because you've already got a favorite solution in mind. Basically, fix the system, don't blame the people. Which brings us to Phase 3, act, piloting and progress. All right, so now that we've nailed down the true root cause, teacher Anna can finally put her carefully designed solution to the test. But hold your horses, we're not rolling this out to the entire school right out of the gate. You've got to pilot the solution on a small scale first. Anna starts by introducing her new reading intervention to just a small group. This helps mitigate any risks and lets her see if the changes are actually making a positive impact before she does a wider rollout. And let me tell you, the data really speaks for itself here. After piloting the program and carefully tracking her results for 8 weeks, Anna's students' reading comprehension scores jumped from 58% all the way up to 76%. That is incredible. She identified a real problem, analyzed the actual root cause, and piloted a targeted solution. The evidence right here proves that this framework absolutely works. Next up, Part 4, BERF. Let's talk about funding your innovation. Okay, so what happens after you pull off this kind of success? I know for a lot of us, action research can feel like this big unfunded mandate we're just expected to do. But it really doesn't have to be. You can actually turn your successful CI project into a funded innovation. DepEd's Basic Education Research Fund, or BERF, is designed specifically to support personnel in conducting meaningful research that drives evidence-based decisions. It literally takes this work from being just another compliance burden and turns it into a highly practical, funded tool for teachers exactly like Anna. And the funding is pretty great. It's structured based on the scope of your research. So if you're doing school or classroom-based action research, like our teacher Anna did, you can secure up to 30,000 pesos in funding for a 3 to 6 month duration. If your findings can scale up to the regional level, that goes up to 150,000 pesos. And for nationwide, system-wide studies, the grant can go all the way up to 500,000 pesos. Of course, to actually secure this funding, your research needs to align with DepEd's strategic objectives. These are the core themes from their basic education research agenda. You're going to want to make sure your proposal fits neatly into categories like teaching and learning, child protection, human resource development, governance, or cross-cutting themes like inclusive education. This just makes sure the funding is always going toward tackling the most pressing issues in our schools today. And you know what's really cool? The impact of your work doesn't just stop at your school's front gate. Your project actually becomes the foundation for evidence-based education policy. Completed BERF-funded projects can be shared nationally through the eSelaSeek portal. So your successful reading intervention, it could literally end up helping thousands of other educators and students all across the country. You get to be part of this massive, vital feedback loop. Finally, our conclusion. Meaningful change, not paperwork. Let me leave you with this thought. A good CI project isn't about producing a thick, heavy report. It's about creating meaningful change for our learners. When we actually use the assess, analyze, act methodology, when we rely on real classroom evidence, and when we tap into resources like BERF, we finally stop doing paperwork just for the sake of compliance. We start identifying real problems, we implement meaningful solutions, and we truly help our learners succeed. So I have to ask, what storm clouds are you going to clear up in your classroom next? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy teaching!